So today we will be looking at the 10 Rockefeller business execution habits. The 10 Rockefeller business execution habits. I am one of those who believe that for you to become the best in what you do, apart from putting in your personal hard work and commitment to produce incredible results, it is also very powerful to study people that have gone ahead. Study people that have gone ahead and have been able to produce incredible results. And when you're studying people that have gone ahead, don't only read their beautiful story, don't only read their beautiful biographies, but also read and go deeper. Try to study their patterns of life, try to study their habits, try to study how they analyze things, try to study how they made decisions, try to study how they went through around anything that they did in order to succeed. And when you do that, you can be able to replicate what they did to produce special results for yourself and for your business, especially in the case of entrepreneurship or running a business. And one of those people that I have been taking time to study is the famous John D. Rockefeller. If you're somebody who studies business, you must have read about John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller is a phenomenal human being, a phenomenal business person. He was so good in business. I think he died in 1938. Until today, he's still respected and recognized. That's when he died, 1938. Yeah, I think so. And he's still recognized as a great businessman that ever existed. He is the first, how do I say, in 1916 or so, he became the first billionaire in the world. He's recognized as the first billionaire in the world, and he's recognized as the richest man that ever lived in modern history. That means today, even the wealth of the Bill Gates, and they have not been able to reach the kind of wealth that John D. Rockefeller controlled. He was able to build one of the incredible oil companies in the world, and there was a year in 1911 or so that the Supreme Court in the US had to dismantle the company because it was so big and it was giving him so much power. They dismantled his one company to form 34 other companies. Imagine somebody's company grew so powerful, so big that the court had to dismantle it. And in that dismantling, they were able to form 34 additional companies from that dismantling. What made him so phenomenal? What made him so incredible? What made him so powerful, so successful in business? That's what we're going to dig today. And if you're somebody studying business again, you must have heard about the Chevron and the Exxon. Those are some of the companies that came out outside that dismantling. And he died in 1937 at the Nation, among many other initiatives. And you know, one thing that I love about him is that there was a time that his wealth grew so powerful that he had to recruit a wealth manager just to manage his money, right? Just because of business, just because he was so excellent in business that he was able to just produce these incredible and massive results as a person. Now, one spectacular thing about him was that he was born in a poor family. He was born in a very poor family, and he was an employee at one time in his life. So he was not born in a wealthy family. He was born in a very poor family, and he was an employee at one time. And there's a famous quote that John D. Rockefeller said, which he said, if you want to succeed, you should strike out on new paths. If you want to succeed, you should strike out on new paths rather than traveling the worn path of accepted success. I love this quote. If you want to succeed in business and career, you should be ready to strike out on new paths, venture into new things, do new things, rather than travel on one path, rather than traveling on paths that people have traveled already. And according to the society, this path is recognized as acceptable path to success. Create new paths for yourself, and it is going to be very, very powerful and successful for you. So I'm just trying to give this background so that when I'm talking about these execution habits that researchers are based on what I've read about him, have been able to produce that these are the kind of things that he did to be able to produce a kind of result that we see today and still talk about till today. Okay. Now, one thing also that I want to share about this great man is, you know, if his wealth is broken down, not that's one thing. Like, if you look at he existed, he lived between 1839 and 1937, right? In that time, there was not massive technology like today. The population was not that big like today. Resources were not that there, like many things are not there like the way we have today. So what made him special? How did he arrive where we are, or where he is, or where he got to as far as his journey is concerned? There was something that he did that was extraordinary. There were some habits that he practiced. There was some pattern of life that he was living that made him to be very, very powerful in the journey of success. If you look at how do you call this? If you're somebody who reads again, if you have heard about Empire State Building, Empire State Building in the US is owned by his children or his family, because it's still one of the wealthiest family today. The John D. Rockefeller family is still one of the wealthiest families today. So, and I want to add is that John D. Rockefeller was a Christian, was a Baptist Christian, and he used to be an usher in church. He used to be an usher in church, even though that wealthy, that rich, that successful, he used to be an usher in church and believed a lot in charity, believed a lot in giving back, believed a lot in education. And that's why he founded, I think, the University of Chicago. There's another university that is founded and supported a lot of other programs. So after that background, let's now go to the real thing. The real thing of what made him so successful in business. What are these habits that if we as young entrepreneurs practice today, tomorrow, and for the next couple of years, it can make us very successful and build the dreams that we have in our hearts to build. So this can be from startup, this can be from those already running businesses, and you can use them when you're growing bigger. And it can also help you to start looking at your business long-term, how you're going to structure it in a way that's going to be different. I've always said it, don't build your business from the place of guesswork. Build your business from the place of intentionality, knowledge, analysis, research, whatever that you can lay hands on that is intentional is very, very important. And one of those best ways is see how others did it. Get the knowledge, break it down to fit you, to fit your market, contextualize it in a way that you can pick it up and run with it and produce beautiful, beautiful results for yourself. All right, so let's look at the 10 habits quickly, and we can take questions in the process and at the end of the session. Okay, number one thing that stood out as far as John D. Rockefeller is concerned when it comes to running business is he made sure that the executive team is healthy and aligned. He consistently made sure that the executive team is healthy and aligned. What does that mean? Healthy doesn't mean just in terms of physical health. That means healthy in the kind of environment that they have to work with each other. They are aligned with each other and with the mission of the business. He was very conscious about that. So for example, if you're in business and you have co-founders, the kind of relationship that you guys have between the two of you and how you two are aligned to yourself and to the mission, vision, and objectives of the business is very critical. If you have already grown that, you have heads of departments, you have sub-directors or whatever that you have, and you consider them as executive team, you need to make sure that there's a healthy relationship and there's a clear alignment. Even you, if you are just a one founder, what kind of relationship, what kind of alignment do you have with yourself and your vision and your mission as an entrepreneur? He made sure that, that's question 1. He made sure that senior executive team members understand each other's differences, priorities, and styles. This is very powerful. He made sure that executive team members understood each other's differences, priorities, and styles. He made sure that the executive team met frequently for strategic thinking. This was his ritual, right? People in his team that he considered the executive team, even though as large and as big as the company is, he made sure that the executive team members met frequently, possibly every week. For what purpose? Strategic thinking for the business. Strategic thinking every week. You don't only have a meeting because there is a problem. You just meet consistently every week to think about the future of the business, to think strategically about the business. And I think somebody like Jeff Bezos of Amazon, I think he's the second or the third richest man in the world right now. He always said that till today, they still treat Amazon as a startup. And they have in so many frequent meetings to make sure that they are always on the right path as far as the company is concerned. Still in that point 1, what he did in order to make sure that the executive team is aligned and healthy is that the team participated in ongoing executive education. And this was recommended to be done monthly. What does that mean? He ensured that the team, if you are an executive, if you're an executive team member in his company, you have to take a lesson, you have to take a course every month. You have to attend a training every month that is geared towards executive growth. That means you have to learn executive skills. It could be negotiation, it could be critical thinking, whatever skill that you need to become a better executive, you had to make sure that you're learning something important every month. Right? And he encouraged that the executive team should be able to engage in constructive debates and all members must feel comfortable to participate. That's so powerful. Like in our mini MBA program, There's something that we call business wars, where we try to put executives against each other to just look at a business case and try to debate, share perspective, argue somebody's point, just debate, and people feel comfortable to share their thoughts. It's a powerful, incredible skill when it comes to building a business. When it comes to building a business. So that was his first habit that he practiced, ensuring that the executive team is healthy and is aligned. Habit number 2 that John D. Rockefeller practiced to be able to build the most successful empires that ever existed. Everyone is aligned with the number 1 thing that needs to be accomplished each quarter to move the company forward. This is so powerful. Everyone is aligned with the number 1 thing that needs to be accompanied this quarter or each quarter to move the company forward. So it means that every quarter, John D. Rockefeller will establish the number 1 goal for that quarter. Now, okay, this quarter, January, February, March, April, this quarter like this, the 1 goal for the business is this. And when he has established that 1 goal, when it is established, that 1 goal is established, he ensures that everybody, right from the senior executive, right down to the least employee, to the cleaner, to whoever, everybody in the company is focused on achieving that particular 1 goal for that quarter. Very powerful. And he used to do this by ensuring that critical numbers are identified to move the company ahead. That means he communicates the goals in numbers. I've always said this. Grammar does not build a business. It is numbers that build a business. So he identified key numbers for the quarter and ensure that everybody knows that number. And he will identify 3 to 5 priorities that support the critical numbers that are identified and ranked for the quarter. What are the key priorities to support these numbers? He identified it. And one thing he used to do is that he will have quarterly theme and celebration or rewards are announced to all employees that bring the critical numbers to life. I'm thinking of adding this to my business. So what does that mean? It means that every quarter he said, okay, this quarter we are going to call it the quarter of dominance. So each quarter he gives a theme. Not that in churches they give monthly themes or yearly themes, right? So each quarter he gives a theme for the quarter. Okay, this quarter we're going to call it the quarter of excellence, the quarter of result. He gives a theme, and then he goes further and creates rewards to announce employees who contribute to the success of that quarter. They can be like an evening dinner. They can be an evening cocktail party. And during that party, he celebrates employees that contributed to the achievement of the numbers in that particular quarter. Do you not see why I don't just look at a company from outside and say, wow, there's nothing like guesswork in business. There's nothing like a company doesn't succeed by error until you start studying deep. Before you say that these guys are massive workers. They're strategic influencers and guys who execute with some technicalities to get where they are today. Look at what somebody was doing behind the scenes. And journalists will say, oh, journalists like John D. Rockefeller has the biggest company ever, all of that. Until you get to know that these guys he didn't just wake up to become the wealthiest human being that ever lived in modern history. He worked for it. He strategically worked for it, both smart work and hard work. Okay. And one thing that he did also under point 2 is that he made sure that the quarterly numbers are shared with employees every week and every month so that employees are aware of the progress each week. That means on every Fridays and Saturdays, they will share, okay, these are the results we have achieved this week as a result of our quarterly goals. so that, and he shared it, he posted on a notice board so all employees can see, okay, these are our numbers, this is where we are, this is where we are supposed to be, this is the gap. And every employee know their role and what their department is supposed to be doing. The third habit when it comes to the 10 Rockefeller business execution habits, the 10 habit is communication rhythm is established and information moves through organization accurately and quickly. Very powerful point. He did not play with communication. Communication rhythm is established and information moves through the organization or company accurately and quickly. In his company, all employees are in a daily huddle that lasts less than 15 minutes. That means there were daily meetings. There were daily meetings that last just 15 minutes, not longer. Quick meetings. So just talk about quick important things, and they communicate with each other and share key goals and key knowledge on key tools, whatever is supposed to be shared that is important for the success of that day. It is shared within that 15 minutes. Don't dare to hide information. Don't dare to keep information, but share accurately and quickly. And all teams have weekly meetings. All teams, whether it's a product team, marketing team, sales team, distribution team, all teams had weekly meetings. The executive and middle managers meet for a day of learning and resolve big issues, and some things are transferred each month. Okay, but the main thing is that all executive team members and middle managers meet for a day of learning to resolve big issues. Okay, and quarterly, annually, the executive and middle managers meet offsite to work on the 4 decisions. This is one thing that he was so good at. He will take his middle managers offsite. He will take his senior managers offsite of the business side, and they are going to meet and work on 4 key decisions. They're going to say, okay, these are the 4 decisions that I want to make for the company to go forward. And they're going to brainstorm, analyze, break it down, look at it from all angles before the decision is made in the next general staff meeting or in the next company board meeting. That was how he was breaking down his communication and making sure that the company is moving forward. Are you getting something? Are you there? Are you getting something? Comments, indicate in the chat box that you're getting something. This is going to be more impactful if you are watching or you're following as an entrepreneur. I make sure that I'm breaking this detailing. So you pick something very powerful, straight to the point. You see, it's so practical and so real. You can just pick one or two and go execute, and you start seeing things happening. Okay, good. Thank you for confirming that in the chat box. Let's proceed. Point number 4. Habit number 4 when it comes to the John D. Rockefeller business execution habits. Every facet of the organization or company has a person assigned with accountability for ensuring goals are met. Every facet of the organization has a person assigned with accountability for ensuring goals are met. What does that mean? It means that he had this system whereby in every important area of the organization, he will appoint somebody who he calls accountability officer. This person's role is to ensure that every instruction he gave, every goal that he instructed them must be achieved. There is somebody whose job is to hold that department accountable, remind them, challenge them, and keep reminding them this is the goal that must be achieved until it is done. That's the meaning of that. So he even went ahead and created what it is called the function accountability chart. The function accountability chart. So on this chart, he created this chart which must be completed on a daily basis by the right people doing the right thing. So you only fill that chart if you are the right person to work on that goal and you are doing the right thing. But if you're the right person doing the wrong thing, don't pass around that chart to fill anything. So he created what he called the function accountability chart to be filled. It could be weekly or daily when the right thing has been done by the right person. The financial statements have a person assigned to each line item. Look, this is so powerful, so detailed. That means if you know financial statement, like income and expenditure statement, every important item in the financial statement has somebody who is responsible for. If it is car expenses, there's somebody who can defend the issues around car expenses. If it is income from sales of stationery, there's somebody assigned to that particular item. Nothing was left for granted in this company. Nothing was left for granted. Everything was fully intentional. Fully intentional. So there was always somebody accountable for a process, for an item, for a department, for a goal. There was an accountability officer. Number 5, the fifth habit. We're looking at 10 habits of the Rockefeller business execution habits. Number 5, ongoing employee input is collected to identify obstacles and opportunities. Ongoing employee input is collected to identify obstacles and opportunities. He was very intentional when it comes to employee input, and he had 2 major goals. Every input that an employee brings in, it should either help him to overcome obstacles or discover opportunities to grow the business. He did not look at feedback as something bad. He did not look at feedback as, there are some leaders and executives and CEOs that you don't correct them. You don't suggest anything. You're challenging their power and their authority. That's stupidity of the highest order. As big and as successful as he was as a business magnate, he had this structure of listening to employees with 2 important objectives. What is the obstacle that this employee is talking about, and how can we overcome it? What is the opportunity that this employee is communicating in this feedback, and how do we take advantage of it? That's why he made sure that all executives in the business had a conversation time just to share a conversation time with at least 1 employee every week. That's what he was doing under this point. That means every week he assigned all his senior executives, always have a one-on-one conversation with an employee in your office, in your department, in your sector. Just talk, not anything. Just have a conversation. Oh, how's work? How do you like it here? How is work in the last 6 months, the last 1 year? Anything you can suggest? What do you think? What are your difficulties? That kind of conversation, not to judge anybody, not to punish anybody, not to just have a conversation with your employee. He challenged his senior executives to always have the conversation. Another thing that he did under this point is that the insights from employee conversations are shared on weekly executive team meeting. You hear that? Every insight that an executive team member had when having the meeting with the employee, they always share those insights during the general executive team meeting in order to see, okay, this is an important point that this employee raised. If it's an obstacle, how do we remove it so that they can be effective? If it is a business opportunity, how do we take advantage of it? When do we take advantage of it? What do we need in terms of tools and resources to take advantage of this opportunity? And under this point, he made sure that the management, the senior management team and the middle management team, he made sure that it was their responsibility to ensure that the process of closing the gap, especially obstacle gaps, is done immediately. So if an employee communicates an obstacle or a gap during the employee conversation, it was the responsibility of his senior management team and middle team to close that gap that the employee communicated. Point number six, the seed habit of John Rockefeller business execution. Reporting and analysis of customer feedback data is as frequent and accurate as financial data. In simple words, he made sure that his company was so good when it comes to reporting customer feedback and analyzing customer feedback. Entrepreneurs here, when was the last time you sat down just to analyze customer feedback? It was a very important component in his business process. All team members, all executives have a fourth quarter conversation with at least one end user weekly. That means every week, a senior team member had a conversation with a customer. Very intentional. Very, very intentional. Every week, there is a meeting with a customer. A meeting with a customer. If possible, you go to the customer's location, the customer's business premises. Have a meeting with a customer and ask questions about the kind of experience they have buying from you. Ask questions about the feedback about the product. Ask questions about their thoughts, about the things they would like to see the company improve upon. But have a conversation with the end user of your product. Insights from customer conversations are shared at the weekly executive meetings. All employees are involved in collecting customer data. That's what he used to do under this particular habit. And any gap, any obstacle that they discovered when conversing or having a conversation with the customer, they made sure that there was speed in closing that gap and covering that loop and giving the customer a very good experience. We need to start doing that. Number 7, core values and purpose are alive in the organization. Core values and purpose. Core values and purpose are alive in the organization. What are the core values that bind your institution? What is the purpose of your company? Core values are discovered. Purpose is articulated. Both are known by all employees. You establish the core values for the business. You establish the purpose for the business. And everybody in the organization understands that these are the core values binding our institution. It could be the core value of hard work, the core value of excellence, the core value of kindness, the core value of unity, the core value of learning. Whatever core values are important to the business, you communicate it to the team, to all employees, and everybody embodies and practice the core values every day that they are in the office. The purpose of the company, the purpose statement of the company, every employee knows the purpose statement of the company. They know the why of the company. All executives, he made sure that all executives and middle managers refer back to core values and purpose when giving praise and corrections. Yes, there was this tradition in this company that if an employee is being sanctioned or an employee is being celebrated, before any action is taken to celebrate or recognize the employee or to sanction or rebuke the employee, the senior manager doing that particular action must first of all remind the employees, if it's an event or it's a one-man session, remind the employee of the core values of the business, remind the employee of the purpose of the company before the correction or the celebration is done. You see the process? You remind them, remember that in this company, our core values include this, and this. In this company, our purpose includes this, and this, before you take the step to do any other thing. That was the process. That's one thing I always talk about when it comes to you being a leader in your business. When you already have a team, there are some things you have to repeat always. That's why I like to call some people chief repetition officer. Always repeat the core values. Always repeat the mission and the vision. Always repeat the core things that are critical for the success of the business. Okay? And he made sure that human resource processes and activities align with the core values and purpose. He intentionally made sure that the human resource processes and activities align with the core values. What does that mean? He made sure that the hiring of employees aligned with the core values of the company and the purpose of the company. So they will not hire a worker that doesn't believe in the core values and the purpose of the business. That's what it means by aligning the human resource activities with the company's core values and purposes. So the recruitment, orientation, appraisal, recognition, rebuking, sanctions, everything that is done as far as human resource activities are concerned, it must align with the core values of the business and the purpose of the company. Number 8, employees can articulate the following components of the company's strategy accurately. I love this one of my favorite things about him. Number 8, he made sure that employees articulate the following key components of the company's strategy accurately. There are some things that if you are working for a company or you as an entrepreneur, there are some things that about your business that should be part of your DNA. You should sleep and think about it. You should walk and think about it. You are eating, you're thinking about it. You are in the shower, you're thinking about it. It is part and parcel of your being and your existence. Same for the employees. So he made sure that the employees could articulate all of the following. Number 1, what they call the BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. Big, hairy, audacious goal. This is talking about what is the biggest goal of the company. Every company should have a BHAG, audacious goal, big, hairy, audacious goal. Every company should have that. Their big, hairy, audacious goal is that by the end of 2060, you want to have the company in all countries, providing employment to 100,000 people and reducing poverty in your village, whatever. There should be, you have a very big, audacious goal that's going to take you decades to achieve, right? So he made sure that all the employees in the company knew the big, hairy goal of the company. And they knew the progress of these goals. They knew the progress of the goal. The next is the employees should know the core customers that the company is targeting. Every business has core customers. Every business has a primary target market. So he made sure that if you are working for any of his companies, you know the core customers that that particular product or that particular company is targeting. You know what the customer, you know the customer profile. You know who they are. You know how they think. You know what they represent as customers. He made sure that all the employees in the company knew the 3 brand promises. Every business has what they call brand promises. If you don't know what a brand promise is, go and research about it. That's an assignment for you. I'll just tell you, go and research it. But he made sure that all the employees in the business knew the brand from the 3 brand promises. Every business has things that they promise the customers. Oh, we promise you this kind of experience. We promise you seamless distribution. We promise you this, we promise you that. So that when you know that as an employee, when you're talking to a customer, you know that it is your responsibility to fulfill the 3 brand promises to this particular customer that you're serving. Because you know that the business is only complete, or the customer experience is only complete when you fulfill the 3 brand promises that the company has in store for the customers. Elevator pitch. Elevator pitch. According to John D. Rockefeller, all the employees in the company must know the elevator pitch of the company. So that his point of view, his point of view was that if you meet any employee of his company anywhere and you ask them a simple question, what does your company do? If there are 1,000 employees in John D. Rockefeller's company, all the 1,000 employees should be able to say almost the same thing, if not 99% the same thing, because everybody masters what the company does. That is the elevator pitch. There are even some entrepreneurs now, if I ask you, what does your company do? You're going to blank. You cannot clearly communicate the elevator pitch of what your startup is about. But he ensured and emphasized that all employees in his company mastered the elevator pitch of what the company stands for and what the company is doing. Are we there? Are we still following? Indicate in the chat box. Are you learning something? Is this thing deep for you like it was deep for me when I came across the research and found it? Entrepreneurs, how we are taking down notes. These things are so deep, so deep. This is how great men made it. Okay, these are things that, as I told you guys, now this is the second time I'm teaching this. The first time I taught this, it was mind-blowing to the company executives that were in that section. Okay, number nine, let's proceed. Number 9, excellent, thank you for that feedback. Let's proceed. I love this number 9, take it seriously. Take it down seriously and make sure you implement this. I charge all entrepreneurs, implement this in your business. Number 9, the 9th habit of the John D. Rockefeller business execution process. All employees can answer quantitatively whether they had a good week or a bad week. All employees in his company can answer quantitatively, not Englishly, can answer mathematically, not grammatically. All employees can answer quantitatively whether they had a good day or a good week. What does that mean? So it means that, here's what he used to do here. If he meets you around the business premises and he asks you, how was the day today? Don't say fine. If you say fine, you're in trouble. That was him. That means that if you're just passing around the business compound, the business headquarters, and he just sees you, like maybe towards the evening, and they ask you, hey, how was work today? If you say fine, you're in trouble. If you ask you, how was your day? Answer it with numbers. Answer it quantitatively. Oh, yes, sir, I had a very good day. Today we wanted to distribute 10,000 parcels. We succeeded to distribute 15,000. Or, we made the total sales of $1 million today. Answer in numbers. Don't say fine. Fine was not permitted around him. When he asks you, how was the week? How was the day? My mentees know this. Don't come and tell me grammar. Talk to me in numbers. That's how you measure growth. That's how you measure growth. All employees can answer quantitatively whether they had a good day or a good week. So every week, here's what he used to do. Every week, 1 or 2 key performance indicators are reported weekly for each role. For each role, every week, there must be a 1 or 2 KPIs, key performance indicators are reported every week. That means every week you have to report that, okay, in the marketing department, these are the following key performance indicators. We were able to promote our product in 3 local radio stations. We were able to have 1,000 customer leads. Well, clear, communicate the weekly key performance indicators. What are those numbers showing that we are performing? We are producing some results. You get a point? Each employee had 1 critical number that aligns with the company's critical number for the quarter. It's very powerful. Each employee had 1 critical number that aligns with the company's critical number. That means as an individual employee, you had 1 number to achieve. And if you achieve that number, it automatically affects the company's numbers. So everybody was not left to chance. Everybody had a number they're supposed to attend. They say, like, if all of us are employees right now, Walters will have a number assigned to him. Melvis has a number assigned to him. Blessing has a number. Morris has a number. Everybody has a number. Say, hey, this week, this is your responsibility. You have to produce this number. So there's the overall company numbers, but everybody has a number assigned to them. When you achieve your number, it automatically affects the number of the company. That was how he made his wealth. It was not by guesswork. On that point, number 9 again, he made sure that all employees, each employee and each team had 3 to 5 quarterly priorities that align with those of the company. Yes. Now, remember that he made sure that the company as a whole had quarterly objectives and priorities. Now, he also went ahead to make sure that if there are team and units or individuals, they will also have their own 3 to 5 quarterly priorities that aligns with those of the company. So as you are in the company, you are loyal to the company, completely loyal and dedicated to the goals of the company. You have your own priorities, quarterly priorities that links to the company. You get the point? So nobody's lazing around. There's no way that you can be lazy in this company because they'll quickly discover you're lazy because everybody has goals. Everybody has goals. You have your own priorities. If by tomorrow they're tracking the company priorities and they see a gap, they'll just link it to you. So, okay, look, we are failing here because of this team is lazy. We are failing here because this employee was sleeping. We are failing here because she came to work and was playing Zuma or was just browsing on Facebook or just eating and not working. Your laziness is quickly exposed. Even you, the entrepreneurs, what is your own priority as far as the overall company's priority is concerned? Are you living up to the expectations of that? And here's one thing he did under that point, number 9, that I love so much. He made sure that all senior executive team members and even middle managers, that he made sure that they had a coach or a peer coach holding them accountable to behavior changes. Yeah. So sometimes he hired external coaches, but sometimes they do peer coaching where he gets another senior employee or another elderly or matured senior executive to become a coach to another executive and hold them accountable for behavior changes. If you are being relaxed, if you are being lazy, if you are not being committed, If they notice that there's a change in their behavior that is affecting your productivity and the priorities of the company, they assign you a coach to follow you up so that that is sorted out. No room for excuses, eh? No room for guesswork. No room for laxity. There was none. That's why his company consistently grew to become such a powerful structure on earth. Because even there was 30, 50 years of building, there was no room for laxity. There was no room for laziness. Everything was covered from the top to the least employee. The 10th habit that made him a great entrepreneur. The company's plans and performances are visible to everyone. The company's plans and performances are visible to everyone. Everybody knows the plans of the company. Everybody knows the performance of the company. Everybody knows. Don't be like in Cameroon and Africa where some CEOs, they try to hide profitability because they don't want staff to demand for salary increments. The plans are known to all employees. Performance is known. How much sales have been made is known. Profit for the year or annual profit is known. Everything is made known to the employees. He created something known as the situation room. This guy was so incredible. He created something known as the situation room. In this situation room, he will bring some core people. It could be senior leaders or employees involved. And in this situation room, they will meet and just break down the plans that they have for the company, or they will meet and analyze the current performance of the company in that situation room. So if anytime you hear that he has called a meeting in the situation room, know that there's an important plan that he wanted to analyze and make decisions, or he wants that they should review performance. Maybe there's a drop in performance. There's a drop in profit, drop in sales, straight to the situation room. And when you enter that special room, that's a room that is dedicated for situation. That's the kind of room that you give it some power. The employees know that you don't enter that kind. You know what we're growing up now. The day there are some beatings that your parents beat you just anyhow. There'll be a slap like that anyhow on the compound, in the kitchen anyhow. But the time that your dad calls you into the room, that's a different ball game. Who used to experience that? You have done something now, that kind of case now, they don't beat you anyhow. They beat you in a private location, right? They call you, they give you exclusive beating, premium beatings that is not to be seen by everybody. Now, only you and him knows that something happens, right? And that one is heavy. Kind of beating, and it doesn't happen often there, like when once a year or twice a year. By the time that you have done something and then they call you into the room, and then he had a special room that was not being used anyhow. It was called the situation room. When you have entered that room, know that you are not coming out of that room without results. You are not coming out without results. So you must come out with a rugged decision. You must come out with dangerous strategies. You must come out with performance guaranteed to double. So he created the situation room. And even till today, the US government uses the situation room. In the White House, if you're somebody who watches American movies or you're studying the White House, one of their things is that they have something called the situation room in the White House. When they are, and when the president wants to analyze a decision or there's an ongoing war and he wants to authorize the bombing of a particular location or whatever, he goes into the situation room with his chief of staff, army staff, and other generals, and they sit in the situation room and they make that important decision. Right? So it's just an atmosphere that you create, a special place you create for you to enter. And when your employees see you in that place, they know that this place now, like you said, no, there's no room for laziness. There's no room for excuses yet. In the situation room, it's either we win or we win. As simple as that. Okay, He made sure that the core values, the purpose, and priorities are posted throughout the company. Yes, he made sure that he printed the core values of the company. He printed the purpose statement of the company. He printed the priorities of the company, and they are pasted on the notice board. They are pasted in the staff room. They are pasted in the situation room. They are pasted in the boardroom. They are pasted in the corridor. They are pasted everywhere that employees can see consistently and be and stay true to it and remember it all the time and live it consistently. He made sure of that. He made sure that there were scoreboards, scoreboards, right? Scorecard. There were scoreboards everywhere displaying the current progress on the key performance indicators. Yes, there were scoreboards like now companies have just platforms. Like there are company platforms or customer CRM or online platform where you can go, you can see the company's progress, number of sales made, and all of that. Yes, he made sure that that was being done for the business, so that employees could see the progress when it concerns key performance indicators. And he established a system to ensure that there is the tracking and managing of priorities when they're going off target, when they're going off guard. He made sure that there was a system to manage key performance indicators to track them should in case the company is going off track. How do you know they're going off track this year? How do you know they're going off guard this year? You need to have a system to track that, have a meeting to track that, to ensure that you don't go off track, off guard in 2022, so that you are able to produce results at the right time. So these are the 10 John D. Rockefeller execution habits that made him a success as far as business is concerned. Okay. Okay. Any questions, please?